Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Every time you scroll through the internet, you're just bombarded with the same tired stories from all the Democrats and their pals in the media singing a tune of disaster. They talk about recession, stagnation, collapse, the end of democracy, the end of times as we know it, like a frickin' broken record. And at the core of all these stories is always the experts, right? The journalists rely on the experts in quotations. But let me tell you something about these media experts. These people have been wrong more times than I can count, yet they're still here slinging the same headlines like they've got some sort of crystal ball. Well, it's clear what's going on here. They're bottom-scraping journalists addicted to negativity, clearly incapable of giving credit where credit is due, and obviously acting on partisan or corporate interest lines. And so after the last couple of months of recession this and recession that, the recession caused by Donald Trump's disastrous tariffs is among us. After months of this nonsense, we now get data from the Atlanta Fed that the second quarter 2025 growth rate 3 to 4 times. In other words, they said recession, but we might be seeing one of the biggest economic booms in recent memory. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this on screen. The Atlanta Fed just dropped an absolute bombshell. Their GDP Now model is flashing a 4.6% growth rate for quarter 2 2025, and that is significantly higher than the blue chip consensus, which is basically an average of a bunch of economist predictions. Well, they're around the 1 to 2% mark, so that's representing the expert consensus. But now the Atlanta Fed is coming out with a bombshell, telling all these lefty economists to sit down with all their doom and gloom negative web spinning and watch this real Trump economy do its thing. I mean, I don't know, just looking at recent history here, the last 2 months' economic numbers have been beating expectations quite regularly, and now we've got the Atlanta Fed telling us they're seeing a spike up? I think something's building here, genuinely. And we're talking about the Atlanta Fed here. They've got a track record. Their GDP Now model pretty much nails it on the head. They're usually quite ahead of all the talking heads on CNN that lead with narrative instead of data, and that's because the Atlanta Fed's model is based on real economic data. I mean, I feel like it was yesterday when we were going into Joe Biden's recession, but right as inflation started to flare up, right as things started to get bad, when the Biden team was gaslighting us with all the Bidenomics nonsense, while the media was playing distractions and pretending like everything was just fine and inflation was simply going to be transitory, sources like the Atlanta Fed were telling a different story. They predicted Joe Biden's recession. We spent months paying attention to the Atlanta Fed numbers. They were predicting an economic contraction, which Joe Biden got for 2 quarters straight, which technically fits the definition of a recession, but the media tried to spin it before and after. So these guys, I mean, they're pretty good. If they're saying Donald Trump's about to post a 4.6 growth rate in this news environment after months of telling us that everything's falling apart, it's going to make an absolute freaking splash. And let's talk about what this means politically. We got Democrats staking on this idea that Donald Trump's going to run the economy in the ground. It's a desperate, dishonest play, but that's of course expected from these desperate Democrats. But now that's essentially become a lifeline for them. I mean, they're going on and on, telling these tales of doom, but what happens when the apocalyptic tale is exposed as dishonest? Well, then everything falls apart, right? And Democrats right now, I mean, they are hanging by a thread.
We're involved in 4, about to be 5 different lawsuits with this federal administration, and people are paying higher prices right now and looking at even higher. People are terrified for their lives and for their neighbors, folks getting snatched off the street by secret police who are wearing masks, who can offer no justification for why certain people are being taken and then detained. Every aspect of what's happening at the federal level is causing harm in our local communities.
You know, it sounds twisted, but they need this. They need Donald Trump's economy to fail. It's the only thing they've got left. They've cashed out on their life insurance, and they're betting it on red. And well, it seems like Donald Trump is jumping into the scene and flipping the whole damn roulette table over. And we have the Democrat Party, a weakened party, looking like they're going to be in some big trouble here. They're down on economic issues, down with young people, down with working class and middle class people. I mean, the questions become, who do they have left at this point? The headlines over the last 4 years especially have been nothing but stories of Democrat exodus. Well, now the Democrats have taken a desperate bet. They're betting on economic collapse, if you could wrap your head around that. But that seems to be their 2026 midterm strategy. Just hope for the worst. But I don't know. I'll tell you, I wouldn't be as confident as little Democrat Eric Swalwell here.
There's a lot of hope on the Democratic side that all of this is going to start to come to fruition in the midterms, retake control of Congress. In the meantime, though, let's talk about what's happening right now, because it's a long time until then and a lot can happen. The acting head of FEMA said he was not aware that there was a hurricane season. Then later they said he was joking. Staffers reportedly were left confused. They don't know what plan they're following for a hurricane season that has already begun. I know you introduced a bill earlier this year to help beef up FEMA's response to natural disasters. Do they have what they need right now?
No, and I'm the number 2 Democrat on the Homeland Security Committee. This is not a joke. It's not a joke if you live in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, where hurricanes have just ravaged those states. It's not a joke in California, where we have suffered from wildfires. And people in my district and Americans across the country, they work too hard to have unserious individuals in their government. And they pay too much in taxes to have unserious individuals not take seriously and bring responsible solutions to their communities. But if that's true,
what do you do about it?
Well, you need a free press, right, that can report on it. And so these press reports are important. You need town squares to be full of people who care. June 14 is No King's Day. You're going to see about 2,000 protests across the country. You need independent courts that will rule against abuses of power. We're seeing all 3 of those. The only one that's missing is a check by Congress. That's gone. But those 3 legs, a press, a town square, and the courts, that can hold up our democracy until we get to the midterms.
You feeling good about the midterms?
I feel good about the midterms. 3 seats, and we're going to win by way more than that.
We got this, Eric Swalwell's essentially saying. But honestly, I'm not sure that that's the case. With Democrats in their current state, mixed in with the people feeling the raw power of that American economic engine, I don't know if current Democrat messaging is going to be able to beat pure, absolutely based results. Trying to become a TikTok superstar with pathetic taco Dawn memes?
Hey, Congressman.
Can I help you?
What the f is up with Trump always chickening out on tariffs?
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna cut it. I don't know if that kind of cheap, low-hanging fruit garbage is gonna be able to keep up. So I don't know, maybe go back to the temple of doomsday praying, keep spinning your webs and hoping for a storm, because it seems, well, you don't really have much else. They spent the last at least 3 months gaslighting us about this supposed Trump economy house of cards that's likely imminent to collapse. And now look at the number. Look at that Atlanta Fed chart. It's shooting up like a SpaceX rocket. Oh, baby, I mean, you can hear the screeching. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.